In the race for Best Drama Actor at the Emmys last year, Rami Malek, Mr. Robot, came in as the winner. A first-time nominee who is back this year. I'm here with Paul Sheehan, Daniel Montgomery, Marcus Dixon, our editorial lineup at Gold Derby. Let's talk about this category. Does Rami win again? Who here thinks Rami will win again?
4 of our experts do, last I checked, but I don't think any of the editors do. It's been, you know, a lot of people in this category repeat. I think there's been 9 repeaters, you know, from Bryan Cranston to James Gandolfini, James Spader. So it fits their mold to just anoint him again. But Mr. Robot, the second season was not as well received as the first one was, and maybe,
so who wins here then? Is it Sterling K. Brown? He won last year, and he's the new kid now in the hot show that you're predicting.
He won for O.J. Simpson.
Right. Such a rising star. He's filming 3 movies right now. The Emmys love when someone's on the bubble of success, like Melissa McCarthy.
Sterling?
Yeah, Sterling is.
Okay. Who's your prediction?
I'm going with Bob Odenkirk. I think he's
I could see
the
that
kind of the show's airing at the right time. It's airing in the spring. He's been nominated the last 2 years in a row. Better Call Saul had a lot of pressure on it because, of course, it was following up. It's the prequel to Breaking Bad, which was so beloved. And it has met those expectations to most critics and audiences. And, you know, it just feels like, I feel like Rami Malek will get back in for a nomination. I think the show was a little bit long ago, and it didn't have that sustaining buzz that the first season had. So I think kind of, you know, in a sense, it's almost Bob Odenkirk's turn. Like he's like next up.
You've never been wrong on Best Actors, Paul, so tell us who's going to win here.
Well, it's interesting because I think that with Sterling K. Brown, it's like, because there was some question of which category he would go into, and I almost feel like him going up to lead was the right thing to do.
I think so too, yeah.
Because he's going to stand out, and I don't think Milo, however you say his last name, you're so good at that, will even get nominated, because he's also trying to get up in lead. Mm-hmm. So I think if it's just Sterling K. Brown, I think he'll win.
The other nominees that are frequently cited here by all of us: Matthew Rhys for The Americans, Kevin Spacey, of course, for House of Cards, Anthony Hopkins for Westworld. Who else do we got here? We've got Paul Giamatti for Billions, a show that I can't believe doesn't do better at the Emmys than. I keep thinking that this is going to be the year, and it's going to happen, that it's suddenly going to get a ton of nominations, and we all knew right from the beginning that it could, but we weren't foreseeing it. 2 nominees from last year, Liev Schreiber and Kyle Chandler, back. And Ian McShane is my optimistic pick. I'm willing him to be nominated here. I think he would have been smarter to bow down to supporting, going to your argument here before, but for American Gods. He was nominated for Deadwood in the past. Who else can win here? I think Kevin Spacey can win.
Did you mention Billy Bob Thornton?
Billy Bob Thornton. No, I didn't.
He won the Globe, and you know David E. Kelly writes that show. It's called Goliath on Amazon, and David E. Kelly has won, I think, 30 different people Emmy Awards just because the way he writes his scripts and the passionate speeches. Billy Bob gets that.
That's a good point. Who else? Kevin
I think
Spacey
Matthew Rhys more than Kevin Spacey.
Really? Why? Which make your case?
Well, because I think, I mean, people love The Americans, and I think they particularly like his performance over even Kerry Russell, who's sort of more of a TV name. But Matthew Rhys, and I think when he gets out there and does the charm offensive, and the Welsh accent is so appealing. And then it's like, because he's sort of playing this Russian who's playing an American, but he's actually Welsh, and you're really impressed by that. And I think Kevin Spacey, unfortunately, there's some stumbling block because, you know, I was predicting him in those first couple of years of House of Cards to win. Oh, it's this 2-time Oscar winner. It's such a slam dunk. And the fact that he hasn't been able to, that he couldn't overcome Bryan Cranston.
He went through the same pattern at the Golden Globe, so we wrote him off at the Golden Globe. Loser, loser, loser. Boom, wins.
Yeah, but that's you have to schmooze 75 people.
Right, okay.
It's not 24,000 people.
Is there anyone else here who can win? In terms of Anthony Hopkins for Westworld, in terms of...
I don't think so. I think
Kyle Chandler surprised us with
that's true.
Friday Night Live.
For the final
Ben
season.
Mendelsohn won last year for Bloodline. That's what Kyle Chandler's in the 3rd season.
Chandler won the final season of Friday Night Lights, and now this is the final season of Bloodline.
And it really is his, and this 3rd season is Kyle Chandler's showcase.
Wow.
And it's such an against type kind of performance for, like, he's in a sense Breaking Bad on this show, where he's going against his kind of nice guy, wholesome image, and he's getting darker and darker.
And to your point about, we're talking about drama series, there's a limited number of Bloodline episodes this year. It's a smaller number, so that could help.
Best Actress. Everybody's got Claire Foy here, and this is such an understated performance in The Crown. Do you have her to win?
Absolutely.
Why? What am I missing here?
Well, it might be nuanced, but it also, you feel like, I mean, we know the Queen, she's playing the young Queen Elizabeth, and first Princess Elizabeth, who then has to take the crown when her father dies. There's a humanity to it, and I think Helen Mirren gave a similar performance.
I would say Michelle Dockery is a kind of understated role in a British miniseries kind of thing that, anyway, our drama series.
Claire Foy won the Golden Globe and she won the SAG, but she didn't have to compete against Elizabeth Moss because her show has just come out.
Go to Elizabeth Moss. She's my number one now.
I just switched to her about a week ago.
I mean, talk about restrained, though. Come on. I mean,
that's a very good point.
But
is it watching some paint dry?
But she's essentially playing two characters: the flashback version of herself, where she's fun and energetic, and then the subdued version, where she's basically a slave. And the voters will see that, and just like Tatiana Maslany last year, they love when people play different performances in the same show.
Like the Motion Picture Academy, there is the overdue element. Like there's somebody who they've lost 3, 4, 5 Oscar nominations. I mean, Elizabeth Moss has never won an Emmy.
They owe her. John Hamm won for the final season.
And I think it's out there. I think that normally people aren't aware of who's Kevin Spacey's overdue to win an Emmy or something. He's won so many other awards, I think they just lose track. But I think the idea of Elizabeth Moss being overdue at the Emmys is out there. Who do you have to win, Daniel?
I believe I have Claire Foy in there at the moment.
Okay. The other contenders here, Kerry Russell. Viola Davis just won an Oscar. Can she win here again? She's won in this category.
She could. She has some good episodes, if episodes still matter.
Robin Wright surprised us a couple of years ago at the Golden Globes, winning Best Actress. I don't think any of us predicted it. Claire Danes has won here a couple times. She seems like an automatic returning nominee. Taraji, will she be back, P. Henson? She's been nominated the last couple of years.
I think just on the basis of Empire, I feel like the buzz for that show has waned too much, but then you have the other factor of Hidden Figures. That was such a huge hit during Oscar season.
That's true with her.
And the same with Viola Davis having Fences. These two shows that maybe wouldn't necessarily on their own carry their stars into repeat nominations this year. They have all that extra goodwill from their film work this year. And of course, we know that Emmy voters are kind of suckers for movie stars. They love to bring that element of prestige into their awards.
Unless they're named Kevin Spacey.
Unless they're named Kevin Spacey.
Carrie Coons is beloved, has 2 hit shows this year. Will she make the list? Who's got her on for a nomination?
She'll be on my dream list. I don't know about my real list. The Leftovers is such a good show. I love it passionately, but the fact that it's never got a nomination just dissuades me from predicting her. That's the only reason.
But I think the one thing to be wary of is the Tatiana Maslany factor. She didn't get nominated until the 3rd season of Orphan Black, and then she was the only nominee for that show both times she was nominated, and then she won last year. So I think with Carrie Coon, it's a situation like with Tatiana Maslany, where the hard part is going to be getting the nomination. If she gets the nomination, then she might have that cult core of support that pushes her past some people who seem like they, in previous years under the old voting system, when it was ranked ballots, now it's just select number 1. She might have that core of support to get past some other more consensus choices. So if she gets in, then she's a threat to win.
She's getting in for Fargo, I think, over in the movie mini race.
And if she gets in for both, that's gonna just the notoriety of being nominated in one year for 2 lead performances is gonna help.
Rare, very rare.
So what do you think? Enough of what we think. You're the ones whose opinion counts. At Gold Derby, go check off your ballots and set us straight.